I am a harpist, and yeah, I kind of do. Um, my music is all inspired by nature, so um, I I like record albums and release albums on like Spotify and iTunes and that sort of thing. But I also do live videos. And take my harp out into different parts of nature and play, that sort of thing. Um, so yeah, so I first found paganism when I was about 18. So I definitely think it has changed over the years because that was about half my lifetime ago. So I'm now 37, and let's see. Being pagan to me is like having a really deep connection with the earth, which I feel like is often lost in today's society because we get so caught up in just modernity in general. And I feel like so many people are kind of stuck in this place where they don't even get to go out to nature at all, let alone a part of nature that is not polluted in some sort by noise pollution, light pollution, or what have you. So being pagan to me is just really being in touch with Mother Earth and having that kind of influence all of the things I do, especially my music. And it is very much intertwined. It's kind of hard to like separate out because, I like to think of myself as a bard. Although lots of times I'll say, I strive to be this or I strive to be that, but I don't feel like I completely live up to what it actually was back in the day. So I hesitate to call myself that sometimes just in that aspect. But so as far as playing my harp out in nature, I love to, so I do this thing called Harp and Coffee, where I take my harp out. It's live videos that I do, like on Facebook and Instagram, and I also have a Twitch channel that I do some of that on. So I kind of think of the video as like a canvas, but instead of, having whatever I've created in the background like this, that we painted me and my girls while we were on quarantine in January, but going out into nature and kind of just finding a really beautiful surround. And I'll spend a lot of time like getting just the right angle just to get this cool look of nature surrounding the harp. Because I don't know, like I feel like I have a degree in harp. My master's is in music composition, but my undergrad is in harp performance and vocal performance. So when I was studying, it was all about, the classical world where you're learning classical music. Everything's in a really nice performance hall, or everything's like resonating and sounding beautiful, and it's just silence, like in between pieces, besides the clapping, of course. And I don't know, everything has to be kind of neat and proper. But when you think about the history of the harp and the mythology of the harp, it's very much not like that. But I guess when we studied harp, it was more the French technique. You've got the French pedal harp. So I'm guessing that's kind of where that stemmed from. But when you go back a lot further, and you go back into like Irish mythology, and the harp's in several different cultures. But as far as I'm concerned, I love Celtic mythology. So you go back into that, and the harp has a huge presence within the Celtic and especially Irish culture. Even today, it's like their national symbol is the harp, which is really cool. So I started taking my harp out into nature because, you know, the harp really is made from nature. We think of it as kind of stripped of all these things, playing in the concert halls, everything's just perfect and, you know. But the harp is made of wood, which means it's made of trees. The strings are made of animal guts. The whole thing is made from natural elements. So I started taking my harp out into nature years ago, and I noticed this really cool thing that I never would have figured out if I hadn't taken the harp outside. But one of the first times I took the harp outside, and I let it sit there for a little bit, and I'm sitting there next to it, and I hear this sound, and I'm like, what is that? And it's something I've never ever heard before, but then I figured out it's the wind blowing through the strings, and it makes the most magical, eerie sound. Like, we'll have to catch that too. Just the wind kind of blowing through the strings, and it's so cool. And it's not just those, but it's all like the harmonics on top of it and everything. So yeah, and then I started going into mythology more and reading more about the harp and mythology. And there is an Irish myth about someone walking past these old whale bones where all of the whale had rotted away except the sinew on the ribs, and the wind blowing through that made this really cool, eerie sound. And that's essentially what we're hearing with the harp going out in nature. And you know, ever since that moment, I was like, okay, this is it. I'm playing the harp outside from now on. So I hesitate to ever post videos inside of me playing the harp, just because I feel like just in my music, it belongs outside, because I feel like it was created from nature. It's in nature, just like we are created from nature. It's, you know, so I feel like to really reconnect, I personally feel this deep passion to go outside in different locations, be it the river, be it the forest, be it a field of sunflowers or a cornfield even. Yes, I mean, I definitely feel that way when, I guess I just tend to call it magic, when experiences, especially like that, where the wind's blowing through the strings and you hear this ethereal sound. And yeah, it just kind of it carries me personally away to, I don't know what else to call it except this magical connection with Mother Earth. And it's that, to me, the spirituality of being pagan, it's kind of like, and hearing this sort of thing, it's like, it's so hard to put your finger on what to call it, but it's almost like a connection, like feeling connected. That, I think, to me is spirituality, feeling connected to the earth and connected to other people. But this is what I keep coming back to, is we lose that so much, that connection with the earth. And to me, that is my spirituality, I guess, is just reconnecting, like trying to save that bond, or like recreate that bond, or nurture that bond that has been broken with so many humans over time. But yes, I feel like the experiences out in nature, not just that sound, but that's definitely a big one, is just, it really makes me feel like I am part of a bigger thing, a bigger purpose. There's been times where I just feel like I want to lay in the grass and kind of be swallowed up by the moss or the grass, and be part of Mother Earth, because I just really feel that connection, like I'm part of this. I am part of this. When I'm performing for people, for a group of people, whether it's in person or online, doing like a live video, yeah, I mean, yes, I feel like I am trying to, I don't know, I get in kind of this meditational sort of state, I think, that I'm kind of like trying to radiate out this energy. And this sounds so weird coming from someone who is also trained in academia. But I don't know, I feel like I've used those two things, like the training and then the spirituality, to try to bring that together. But Yeah, I've had many people experience me playing and have come to me afterwards, like crying, saying how much it has touched them and touched their spirit or their soul or whatever you call it. Um, yeah, so I do feel like I'm trying to bring healing to people.
The sort of healing that Maven is discussing takes place on a spiritual level for her, her listeners, and many guests to the retreat center. For Maven, this clearly occurs through her playing of the harp, where her instrument acts as an extension of the body that establishes an ethereal connection with the land around her. Maven, and many of the inhabitants and guests of the retreat, use an artistic and intangible connection to the land as a kind of spiritual sustainability, which serves as a stepping stone to more physically sustainable practices.
That's a good point that you make about people thinking of sustainability as being like these physical things that you do, which I think that it is, but you have to have the inspiration to do that first. So something has got to change in your mind to even be able to want to live that way. Like why would I want to live sustainably? Like it's it's harder, it takes more work, you know. I mean, I think that's a lot of people's point of view. Like, why would I even do that? But so I think that it starts with this spirituality, not saying that you have to be pagan to want to be sustainable, because that's definitely not true. But for me, living a more sustainable lifestyle is because I have this just connection, I'd say, with nature, with Mother Earth, Mother Gaia, whatever you want to call it. I feel like because I have that, then I want to live more sustainably to try to preserve and protect Mother Earth and her resources and just like our human relationship with Mother Earth as much as we can. And I do strive to kind of give people that auditory and visual experience to where they're like out in nature with me, especially through like my live videos. You know, a lot of people, they look forward to seeing this like once a week, and then if I don't play, they're like, I didn't get my dose of harp and coffee, because they live such hectic lives where they're going to work every day and working the normal, 9 to 5, and just busy taking the bus or whatever, or even if they're stuck at their home and working virtually constantly, they just don't have that release of nature, of the meditational type of music. Just it's like a way for them to kind of let go and release all the tension and negative energy that they have like during the week. And I'm definitely not the only way that people do that, but I'm hoping that by doing that I am bringing a little more awareness to that. I think bringing a little more awareness to how shaping people's ideas of how magical nature can be. So I hope that I inspire people in that way. I think that I do at least a little bit, and I strive to at least. And then in that sense, people will have a little more appreciation for that, and hopefully try to live more sustainably once they kind of realize some of these things about how wonderful the world around us is. Several things here to live sustainably. We do composting, which is essentially taking all your food scraps that you haven't used, and so we use those in the gardens here. Everybody talks about how like lush the soil is here. Well, we're very lucky to have really really nice soil, but yeah, the composting definitely helps. We do recycling. Yeah, so here at the retreat center we have flower gardens, but we also have like ornamental gardens, but we also have vegetable gardens, like community gardens where we plant different things. And I've got like a little garden in my backyard, but we also have like big communal gardens that we do together. And then just, I guess the entire property in general is like sustainable is that we live in a very unique sort of way, is that we live in an intentional community that supports, or the retreat center actually supports the intentional community. So we have a retreat center here. So we're essentially sustaining ourselves by, bringing in the different retreats and holding the space for them here. So we have a lot of spiritual, like alternative spirituality types retreats that come here, and so we're kind of self-sustaining in that way. So we have different people that live here that do all of the cooking for the retreats, like the chefs, and then we have a guy that does maintenance for all the houses, and then people that do housekeeping. We have the retreat manager, and all of that sort of thing. So we kind of live together to support this sort of lifestyle where we live out here, and then people come here as well on a much bigger scale. So like I do my music on my smaller scale of trying to reach people and share a little piece of this with them. But when people come out here, it's just like an amazing experience for them to be able to kind of get away from their life and their hectic lifestyle and just kind of just release all of that negative tension and energy and just kind of reconnect with the earth while they're here. So yeah, we live sustainably in that sense by having the retreat center. Yeah. So yeah, that definitely these things are very tied into nature, because it's like we're kind of crafting the different spaces within nature that, if you're just kind of living in a neighborhood in a house in the middle of, suburbia, it's something that you wouldn't really think of creating. But something like, now I didn't help create the stone circle that was here before I was here, but they, plotted out like the ley lines there and found the big stones and created that whole thing. I did do the labyrinth with a couple other people where we plotted out all of the paths and laid them out and mowed it. So it really is creating this like large scale piece of art in nature. So it's like a living creation that takes a lot of upkeep too, like a labor of love. But we love that sort of thing. And like the hallway of trees over here that they planted years ago. But I mean, look at the beauty that has kind of sustained over the years. It's really, some of the people that have been here much longer than me have done some amazing things, just like working with art and nature, creating these like beautiful green spaces. Let's see, what other ones did you mention? Creating the flower crowns is what I like to do a lot too. So again, because I see nature as kind of the most beautiful thing out there. So that's why I try to create things from nature when I can. So that's why I love to go and get the wild grapevine and go and find it everywhere I go. I'm always seeing the grapevine growing over this and that and growing up things. And it is kind of like a spiritual practice, just the entirety, not just, just the entirety of making it, because you're working with nature. And then also I used to make them all and then give them to people and they put the flowers in. Now I just go and harvest it, and then I've taught people how to do it on their own and like how to identify it and stuff, so that they can go home and find wild grapevine on their own and do it on their own and have their own practice of doing that too. But yeah, I feel like the entirety of that whole experience is really spiritual, even though I'm going and harvesting it on my own and bringing it back. It's kind of cool, like thanking the land for this and then kind of taking it as part of my practice and part of being with everybody, doing it together in a community, whether that's the community that lives here or the community that's sharing space with us right now,
As we journey through the Hall of Trees, you can see this place where the environment and the people artistically express together. The retreat holds many forms of sustainability, both in physical and spiritual dimensions, expressed by its inhabitants through floral and vegetable gardens, orchards, the stone circle, their maypole, and many other environmental features. In Maven's music, we see a place where people find the space to heal and connect to the environment spiritually through sound, which informs and guides how they work with environmentally conscious praxes. Let us join Maven now while she sings her sea invocation to the waters of these woods and experience this spiritual sustainability.